The 4 fastest ways to accelerate your confidence. It begins with superior strategy. Now, strategy not just for when you fight or when you compete, but strategy for when you train. Day one, back in the gym, day one, what I will teach you is what I was taught early in my career. I started at the age of 5, okay, and I learned early to fight behind a feint and a left jab. As an orthodox fighter, my jab is my left hand. Southpaw is going to be reverse. But to fight behind that feint and a left jab helps me set my opponent up. It helps me keep my opponent guessing, the feint does, and it keeps them on their toes in a defensive mindset. That's what I want them in, because I want to be establishing my offense. So by fighting behind that feint and that left jab, I got them biting. Pop, and I keep that jab in their face. Pop, double it up. Pop, right? And I'm moving afterwards. Punching and moving and punching. This is also all part of that. And the big thing with this superior strategy, once again, it goes back to the jab. Defense. We got to work on our defense and sharpen it up. And we'll get into that next. What I'm teaching you here is the 4 circles of discipline, which is part of Champion's Pride. It's a training system I use to develop fighters. Like I said, for me as a fighter, it began over 41 years ago, back in 1980. And I ended up competing on a world-class level at the end of my career. And I've trained fighters from day one in the gym and taken them to compete on a world-class level. And over that time, I've added to fighting behind a feint and left jab. And I've called this jab control theory. And it's my theory that the fighter who establishes their jab, which is what I was taught, establish your jab, fight behind a feint and left jab. That's part of it. But the other part is to become masterful at taking away my opponent's jab. And that's done through something called pot shotting. Punching while your opponent punches. Hitting them when they least expect it. And they least expect it when they go to throw a jab at your face. And by every time they go to throw that jab, they get clipped. They get hit with a shot. Every time they throw the jab, I'm threading it. Boom, I'm hitting them there. I'm slipping inside, I'm hitting them underneath. I'm slipping outside, I'm hitting them underneath. They're getting clipped every time I'm touching them up underneath to the body with my own jab. I'm sliding out. There's all these ways to take away their jab. Now, once they quit jabbing, they're in big trouble.
That's it.
Because now I can walk them down. I can walk them down and impose my will on them, and they can't keep me off them. They can't set up their power shots. They can't set up their combinations. That's how important and critical the jab is. You have to really, really take this serious as far as establishing your jab and learning the techniques, the countering techniques, specifically pot shotting, to take away your opponent's jab. That's jab control theory. The person who establishes their jab and takes away their opponent's jab controls the fight. And if you're in control of the fight, well, we're going to make sure that you win the fight. That's superior strategy. And you need to come into the gym on day one, understanding that's the process. That's the big picture. That's what we're moving toward. Yes, you're going to learn all the different punches. You're going to learn the techniques, a lot of defensive techniques up front. And that gets us into the second circle of discipline. And that is technical mastery. See, so fast you barely got into the gym and you've learned how to throw your jab, but you're already working on your two-hand. And you haven't yet mastered that jab. And I'm going to tell you right now, on mastery of the jab, think of that like a knife. You have to keep that knife sharp. And you got to keep it sharp throughout your career. If you've already become very masterful at your jab, but you don't continue to sharpen it, well, it's going to get dull like any knife would. So you have to continually sharpen your jab throughout the career. It has to stay at the forefront of your technical development. You're always sharpening the jab. Even when you go on and you begin learning different punches, you still sharpen the jab, because the jab sets everything up. It goes back to superior strategy, which is jab control theory. So by having that strategy in place, it's going to keep you mindful that I need to always strive for technical mastery. Now we're looking for perfection. Perfection really doesn't exist. We're looking for an uncounterable jab. That doesn't exist. Anytime you throw a punch, you're open to be countered. Every time you punch, any punch, you're open to be countered. But we want to get so little holes in our defense, so little holes in our offense when we execute, that it's just next to impossible to counter us because that jab's so sharp. And so that's how quick you want that jab to be. That's how efficient, excellent. That's just on the jab. But this is with every punch. We want to develop technical mastery. I'm going to share with you one real common mistake that a lot of fighters make. They learn to jab and they do this. They jab, and every time they pull that right hand back. That's out of position. Right here, if I'm jabbing, guy slips while I jab, boom, slips a hook on me real quick and easy, right? Slips inside, boom, the hook is there because I'm pulling. Other thing, by pulling this right hand when I jab, it's taking it out of position. It's taking me about 4 or 5 inches away from here. I'm closer to your face. Shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. I get this two hand here much quicker from here, and has more leverage on my body, coming off my body like a guided missile, than out here pulling for gravity, right? Fighting against gravity. I'm taking away the center of gravity, the down the center of your body. That's the center of gravity. The closer that two hand is there, when I release it, the quicker it'll get there, the more speed and velocity it'll have, and the more it'll snap your head back when it lands. But if I'm out here, I'm losing power. I'm losing power. I'm trying to force it. But here I have true power, that quickness, that explosiveness, and I can execute. So that's why we strive for technical mastery, and we don't move on to the two hand until we have a degree of technical mastery with the jab. We get that technical mastery with the jab. Now we move to the two. There's a natural progression. Common 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right, on your punches. That's a common progression to learn them in, right? Your 1 is your jab. Your 2 is your rear hand, right? Your power hand, right? Your 3 is your hook. Your 4 is your rear hand uppercut. Your 5 is your lead hand uppercut, right? And your 6 is an uncommon. My trainer used to say the punch doesn't exist, but it does exist. That would be to throw a hook with your rear hand. It's hard to get to when you're boxing a guy. Unless you're inside, that shot's probably not, it's not going to land because it's too far away from your opponent. So you'd have to step in and throw it. So we can get into that another time. But those are the 6 basic punches. Of course, we have an up jab, we have an overhand right, we have different variations of the jab itself, right? Throwaway jab, right? There's some different, more advanced ways to throw, but these are the basic. But learn and master them in sequence. Become masterful at your 1 before you move to the 2. By focusing on that, you're going to have less holes in your defense and in your offense. Because once again, you're open. Every time you go to punch, you're open for a counter. And those holes, those windows of opportunity will be smaller for your opponent than big, wide open windows to land a shot on you and counter you every time you punch. So that's why you want to focus on technical mastery. Once again, it starts the first circle of discipline, superior strategy. That's jab control theory. Secondly, technical mastery of each and every punch, and also the defensive skills. See, we're talking about punches, but in the gym, you walked into my gym, I wouldn't even start you on punching. I would start you on footwork, stance, and defense. You're going to become very masterful at defensive skills, and specifically, you're going to spend a lot of time what I call the phone booth. That's the corner. And you're going to learn to parry a jab, block a jab, slip a jab, right? Slip and slide, bob and weave, right? You're going to learn all these defensive skills and become masterful at each one. And you're going to be very hard to hit with a clean jab. And now by doing that, that goes back to superior strategy. We're taking away our opponent's jab because he can't land it now. If he can't land it, he can't set up those combinations. He can't set up those big power punches. So that this all fits together. The circles of discipline, they connect. Everything's connected in this Champion's Pride training system. Everything is connected. The next thing, as far as training, is mental toughness. See, when you get in a great fight, an evenly matched fight, the guy who's going to win is the guy who knows how to dig deep. The one who's been digging deep in the gym every day. We want to train with a level of intensity, right? We want to push ourselves. We want to test ourselves. We want to find out what's inside. And the truth is this, there's always more inside. You thought you reached your limit, but there's more inside if you learn to dig deep. And that's what you got to get used to, is training and digging deep. And digging deep means looking inside, getting out of your head. Oh, I'm tired. Oh, I'm exhausted. Oh, I can't do any more. No, start asking the question, what's left? What's inside? There must be more. And if you have that type of mentality that there must be more, there's always more. I'm telling you, but you're looking in the wrong side. You're looking in here. And that's when we need to go here and start digging deep in your heart, right? Digging down in your soul. That's where you're going to find the truth. And the truth is, there's always more inside. And so by training with that type of mentality, that mental toughness mentality, when you get in a competitive fight, you're going to know how to dig deep, and that's going to break you through to a new ceiling of performance. And it's going to be the difference between success and failure. You're going to know how to dig deep. Unless your opponent has been training the same way and knows how to dig deep and knows how to push and find more. And if that happens to you, you're going to have one of the most incredible moments you could ever have in competition. That's one of the most beautiful, magical experiences you could ever have. And that's to find out that there's more inside and to be forced to go there because your opponent was so evenly matched and was digging so deep. And that happened to me a few times throughout my career, but one time in particular, I just remember, man, we were going at it toe to toe at the end of that fight, and we were just fighting to win this fight. It was in the Tacoma Golden Gloves. And we had the whole stadium. There must have been 3,000-4,000 people in there, and every one of them was on their feet. And we just, at the end of that fight, just looked at each other and just hugged each other, because we knew the truth was we could have never got to that level of performance without that other man in front of you. And that is a beautiful moment. But for you, when you train with this type of mental toughness mentality, you're going to have a competitive edge over every opponent, especially every opponent that doesn't train with that same type of mentality, to push yourself to that ceiling to where you think you have no more. Look inside, find out that there is more, and break through to that next level of performance. That's the secret to developing your mental toughness. So this is all working together. The superior strategy, the technical mastery. These are the 4 circles of discipline. And now we have the mental toughness. And the last part, it goes back to the beginning, peak performance. In order to perform to the very best of your ability come competition time, you have to start at day 1 with the peak performance mindset. That means taking care of your body, okay? Not poisoning your body with substances, right? Those substances aren't going to help you when you're fighting. They're going to hurt you, right? Getting the proper rest, the amount of sleep that you need, taking naps when you need it, stretching out. That's another huge part. People are always trying to tighten the muscle, but never lengthening and stretching the muscle. That's part of it. You want everything is about performance. I want the muscle to perform. I want the nerves to fire quickly, right? So I train for that type of intensity to get that rapid fire response, right? I train for that automaticity, that these defensive skills just happen. A shot's coming, I'm not thinking about it, I just parry, I just block it. I instinctively know what to do and how much time I have. If I can parry it, I'm gonna parry it, right? But sometimes it's coming so quick, boom, I just have to block it. That's full coverage insurance, baby. That's full protection for the body. But you've trained for that. And you've got yourself to this peak state of performance where now when you step in there to compete, you're ready, completely ready, because you've been staying fully hydrated. You've been eating right, living foods, right, to nourish your body and to repair those cells as you damage them in your training. And we're getting the proper rest and recovery time. You have a solid morning routine. You have a solid bedtime routine. You're very self-disciplined. You respect the man in the mirror. When you wake up in the morning, you're in this whole state of peak performance. You feel incredible. Now this is all great. This is all part, and I want you to think of this as an iceberg. This is all the part of the iceberg that's up on top. This is the part that most fighters focus on. If you're in an integrated system, like Champion's Pride is an integrated system of training with the 4 circles of discipline, that's the top of the iceberg. And that's about as good as you can get when it comes to the training part. There's things that we fighters, whatever type of fight, boxing, MMA, if you're fighting, you got a fighter inside of you, there's a chance, there's a great chance that you have some past trauma in your life, whether they're childhood experience or things you've experienced as an adult. But there's a chance you have some trauma. There's a chance you have some things that are just locking you up that you haven't forgiven people of. There's a chance you're carrying some baggage and some burdens on your shoulders, and it's slowing you down. And how that shows up in your life is you're doing all the technical mastery, the 4 circles of discipline, right? If you're in an integrated program like that, you're doing those things, but it's like you take 1 step forward and then 2 steps back. It's like things are going great, you're sailing, and all of a sudden, boom, you run into a wall. It's like life's just happening for you, and it seems like you're finally going to get your breakthrough. And now something knocks you down in your life, because there's this stuff underneath the water, underneath the surface, that you haven't dealt with. And that's what I specialize in. And that's what I've learned, and over my experience of seeing talented young men, talented fighters, not fulfill their potential because we were in the gym all the time working on the 4 circles of discipline, but we didn't get that time outside of the gym to really unlock their true potential. I've seen guys with tremendous potential to maybe perhaps become Olympic gold medalists or world champions in the pros, and I've seen them not fulfill their potential because we never dug deep enough. We never took that time outside of the gym. See, in the gym, you're learning, you're getting the coaching, you're getting the training, but the teaching. See, the teaching can happen, yes, in a one-on-one setting. It's outside the gym. That's where the teaching takes place. outside the gym and the teaching of life. I promise you, I've taught young men and young women, mostly young men, throughout my career as a trainer. But on the road, when we're away from the gym and now we have a chance to turn down the radio and talk about life, those are the magical moments. Those are the moments that you learn about the truth, right? But we didn't spend enough of those moments sometimes. And those are the times, and I'm not going to let that happen to you. If you decide, I have a program, it's called The Warrior's Way. If you decide you want to learn more about this, you want to work with me, if you have some things that you have these symptoms where you're making progress and now all of a sudden something knocks you back, or you're running into walls, if you have these problems, then I want to help you. I want to help you break free. I want to help you unlock the chains. I want to help you find out your truth, what's possible for you. See, I believe only God knows what's truly possible for you. And I want to help you find that out. I'm here to help you find that out. We got to look inside and we got to see what's in there. And we got to process and we got to deal with it. That's the biggest part. Yes, I will teach you the best of the best, the 4 circles of discipline. That's the top of the iceberg. It's an integrated system. It's called Champion's Pride. Perseverance, respect, integrity, discipline, and excellence. That's all part. Those are character development. It's all part of Champion's Pride, along with the superior strategy, the technical mastery, the mental toughness, the peak performance. That's all part of it. But underneath, that's where the magic happens. That's where we unlock you to release this weight, this bondage that's holding you back, to process and deal with it, to confront it, to have the courage to confront it. And I'm here, and I want to work with you. If this resonates with you, if you feel this, if you're feeling me right now, then I have an opportunity for you, and I want you to click the link to find out the Warrior's Way and go through that Warrior's Way and look in there. And if it entices you, if you feel inside, I need this, then book a call with me and we'll go from there, champ. Let's get it.